Introducing the next speaker, we have with us Professor Dr. Jasmine Dhaya. She is the Clinical Director and IVF Consultant, Nova IVF Fertility Center, Jalandhar. She is the first woman to be elected to PMC in 102 years of its history, and she is the chairperson WDW Punjab. She's won the IMA Award for Women Empowerment in 2018. An alumni of GMC Amritsar and a postgraduate from DMC Ludhiana, she has a vast experience in IVF and fertility. Recently, she's been bestowed upon with an award of professor by IMA. Ma'am, you are welcome here as the next speaker.
Thank you, Dr. Gomti, for the kind introduction. Respected seniors and dear friends, a very good afternoon to all of you. Thank you, organizers, PIMACON 2020, for giving me this opportunity to address such an august gathering. IVF has been discussed long and short. There are a lot of centers now in Punjab. Almost everyone is doing IVF. So what next? How do we move forward? So today, beyond IVF, we will be talking about PGT. How is PGT having a role in prevention of genetic diseases, and how we can help more patients post-IVF in a different way. So, next, yeah. PGT or pre-implantation genetic testing. This is what we are talking today. The human reproduction is highly inefficient and produces high percentage of aneuploid embryos, that is, embryos with a wrong chromosome number, even at young ages. These aneuploid embryos, these wrong chromosome number embryos, are non-viable, lead to implantation failures, miscarriages, and congenital abnormalities. Pre-implantation genetic screening describes the process of checking the chromosomal composition of these embryos. PGT to identify these aneuploid embryos prior to embryo transfer. It allows the choice of embryos free from aneuploidies, increases the likelihood of pregnancy, and reduces miscarriage rates. So what do we actually aim for? We aim for improvements in processes and technology, increase in the implantation rate, transfer fewer number of embryos, and increase the take-home baby rate. So the ultimate aim of ART is to improve IVF success rates by having extra information to describe the embryos with higher developmental potential and to achieve single healthy live birth. I would stress single healthy live birth. So about aneuploidy in human embryos, most studies suggest that at least 2/3 of human pre-implantation embryos contain aneuploid cells. 30% of human cleavage stage embryos are affected, and changes in oocyte messenger RNA associated with advancing maternal age, they increase the oocyte aneuploidy. So in most cases, the abnormalities are oocyte derived, they are egg related, and one of the commonest cause of implantation failure. PGS, PGD was the old term and is now known as PGT, which is a state-of-the-art procedure used in conjunction with IVF, in which embryo is tested for certain conditions prior to being placed in the womb of the woman. PGT was first reported in 1990 and combines recent advances in molecular genetics and ART. So PGT can be PGT-A, A for aneuploidy, M for monogene diseases, and SR for structural rearrangements. So it is actually of 3 types. The objectives of PGT being predictive and preventive strategy. It diagnoses the disease before implantation and selects healthy oocytes or embryos. So I'll be talking about aneuploidy first, that the wrong chromosome number embryos. These have little or no viability and are not transferred or frozen. This potentially avoids miscarriage and a viable abnormal pregnancy. So abnormal pregnancies will decrease. Knowledge of high frequency of aneuploidy in their embryos. It helps in patient counseling. You can, the acceptance for programs like donor egg is increased. It allows fewer embryos to be placed and potentially reduces the multiple conception risk. Indications: advanced maternal age, repeated implantation failures, repeated miscarriages, severe male factor infertility, previous sporadic genetically abnormal pregnancies, single embryo transfers wherever are thought of. PGT-A is a very good option, and sometimes we do PGT-A by the patient's choice. The biopsies can be a polar body biopsy, day 3 or day 5. Diagrammatically, you can see the polar bodies are removed from the oocyte, zygote, or both can be done. Blastomeres removed from cleavage stage embryos can be taken. It's a day 3 8-celler, and we are removing 1 cell from it. Or trophectoderm cells can be removed from the blastocyst, and once you pick them up with a pipette, you can do laser cutting. A PGS with 24 chromosome screening is what is actually required, and the analysis of results can be like this: a normal embryo or a monosomic embryo or a chaotic embryo. The results in NOVA, we've done 263 cycles of PGS. Cycles with normal embryos, 77.6%, and cycles with all abnormal embryos was like 22.459 patients, in which no embryo transfer was possible. So the incidence of chromosomal abnormalities by PGS, if we look at it age-wise, if she's less than or equal to 35, the number of abnormal embryos would be 59.8%. And once she's about 40, you can very well imagine that 84.7% embryos will be abnormal. So the outcomes can also be gauged as per the indications in recurrent miscarriages, recurrent implantation failures, previous trisomy pregnancies, advanced maternal age, or severe male factor. In all these, the pregnancy rates can be good and even more better once we are doing PGS. Coming to PGD, the pre-implantation genetic testing for monogenic defects is a genetic test that is performed on an IVF embryo prior to transfer that identifies the presence of specific genetic mutation. PGT-M was formerly known as PGD, and PGT-M is not necessary for all patients. It's actually an invaluable service for those who are carriers of genetic diseases. So by transfer of unaffected embryos, the patients can be assured children resulting would be free from that disease. So all monogenic defects, autosomal recessive, autosomal dominant, and X-linked disorders can be checked. Carriers of balanced translocations, which are at a high risk of implantation failure and recurrent abortions, can also be seen. All these diseases, all the monogenic diseases can be checked and practically removed from the family line if we are doing PGD. So the facts, it has about 98% accuracy in detecting the major chromosome abnormalities. It is indicated for couples at a higher risk of having a child with a specific single gene disorder. It can be performed for almost all the known single gene disorders, and it increases pregnancy success and promotes the birth of healthy babies. This is one special case I would like to mention, which was done in NOVA, a savior sibling case of thalassemia. India's first such case was done in NOVA, Ahmedabad. A 1-year-old baby Kavya has saved her brother's life, Abhijit, who was 7 years old, by donating her bone marrow. Her brother was born with thalassemia major and required monthly blood transfusions. An IVF was done with PGD, and HLA typing of the embryo was done, and one embryo was formed which was HLA matched, identified, transferred, and gave rise to baby Kavya, a sister who saved her brother. So what does PGT-SR screen for? It identifies the structural rearrangements, including the translocations or inversions, and in broader terms, it is called comprehensive chromosome screening. Mosaicism is just worth a mention. The cleavage stage embryos, 40 to 60% of the embryos are mosaics. They have more than one cell line. And the methods of analysis can be FISH, fluorescent in situ hybridization, which is nowadays not practiced, was something like this. And next is CGH array, complete genomic hybridization, the second procedure which can be used to identify chromosomes. Then the disadvantages of CGH array are mosaicism. It cannot detect the whole ploidy error, and there is a need for cryopreservation. And NGS is the next method and is most of the times done with a blastocyst biopsy. This is the first NGS baby born in 2014. So NGS is a method in which you can detect the mosaics. Mosaic is with two cell lines, so it's not totally euploid, the embryo. So first we place the euploid embryos, but we are very careful in discarding the mosaics because some mosaics can make babies. The ASHRAE recommendations for PGS-PGD, PGD reduces the risk of conceiving a child with genetic abnormality carried by one or both parents if that abnormality can be identified with tests performed on a single cell. Before PGS is performed, thorough education and counseling must be provided. Prenatal diagnostic testing is recommended to confirm the results. The take-home messages: the hallmark of a successful ART program is a consistent and sustainable high pregnancy rate balanced by a low incidence of multiple gestations. PGD-PGS requires biopsy method, an invasive manipulation that requires high technical standards, optimal in vitro conditions, well-trained embryologists, appropriate timing in fresh transfers, 99% survival rate of the vitrification system. Individualized treatment planning is the need of the day in the present scenario, and each patient needs to be planned meticulously, and there should be a judicious use of newer technologies, which is also very important. Thank you. Thank you for your attention. I can take a question if anybody wants.
Thank you, Dr. Jasmine. Okay, so may I take the privilege of introducing the next speaker, Dr. Bhavna Singh, consultant cardiothoracic